Divorce lawyers on Reddit? Can you describe the worst cheating you've witnessed? My uncle represented him in his 15-year divorce. After a terrible breakup, they split everything 50/50, the property where they built their house. She built a house next door. The two home sites were separated by 200 yards of property, built with backs to each other. The residences while the house is being built. A friend calls my uncle to ask if what he did was legal. He saw his ex-wife often since she spent time in her lawn. He bought and named a girl puppy after his ex-wife. Whenever he brought his dog home after being outside, he shouted, "Susan, you B-word, get in here." She would also get yelled at for pooping on flowers. "Sue, stop peeing on flowers. Avoid being ASXY jerk, Susan." His ex-wife phoned the police several times, but they couldn't do anything because the dog was classified as Susan, despite being female. That's it. They split 10 years ago, but divorced a few years later. He destroyed his house and faxed her title change documents to get it. He might be jailed for arson. My legal company was used as evidence in a divorce dispute involving a partner from my firm and another prominent law firm. Over 70 banks, law firms, financial firms, and other enterprises received orders. She believed he knew he had hidden almost $20 million abroad. It got so terrible that she found 25-year-old receipts to figure out what he was doing. After spending $1.5 million on lawyers and going through 7 of them, the judge declared this is stupid. There was no plot or conspiracy, so you don't get this false $20 million. Remember that this was a big law firm partner acting inappropriately. Despite her fame and annual income, she appears insane. Bad separation, wife requests husband stay distant. Common as hell. Not bad, but not fantastic either. His mother died a year after the divorce. He urged his sister to talk to his ex-wife and bring the kids to the hospital before she died. Wife never did. She went to court and said he violated the protective order by contacting her. You can't contact someone through another. Despite explaining, he was determined to have broken the order. His mother died in jail, and his wife never took the kids to see her. From lawyers, I heard this narrative. An automobile brought the husband and wife much trouble throughout the divorce. The guy gives in after months of vowing to never give his wife the car. He does this for a nice summer house. He had driven the automobile around the city for 3 hours. Every day, putting so many miles on it that it was virtually worthless. Hard to comprehend how much preparation and hatred went into that. 2 divorce lawyers hired me as a consultant in graduate school. Their client was a pilot. His wife worked part-time. Thus their earnings differed greatly. An awful breakup. Although the process was ongoing, taxes had to be paid. My wife's accountant just called, and her lawyer says they can save $8,000 apiece by sharing W-2s and filing jointly. My group mates told my spouse. He calls her foolish. Losing 8 grand hurts her more than me. Ice cold, if your income is low, the Dutch government will cover most of your court fees. Thus, if a divorce takes too long and one partner has little or no income, and the other has a normal salary, the normal income partner will have to pay a lot. I've seen cases persist forever because there are several methods to prolong it. A catch exists though. The government pays your lawyer monthly. If your divorce settlement or other income exceeds a particular amount, you must pay your lawyer. So we still track hours in these circumstances. This woman was compensated 40,000 euros after delaying the divorce for years, believing she was unfair to her ex-husband. She had to return much of that money immediately away due to costly lawyer bills. They knew what was there. It repeatedly proves that lawyers are the only ones who win fights. As a banker, pooled debts or credit cards often surface right before a divorce, surprising one party, depleted to nothing. It's worst when a student or youngster is distraught after a breakup and can't pay their loans. I knew a man whose wife slept with another. Man had a child with him and never told him. Another cause prompts the divorce. A DNA test tells the husband the child isn't his. The courts order him to pay child support because it's best for the child. The husband worked at CVS and the woman taught. I facilitated their divorce. Spoke for wife. The woman earned most of the family's money. She cared for herself, her husband, and their 2 children. One child was severely autistic and needed a lot of money for school and therapy. The husband, who lived alone, sued the wife, who was raising both children, for temporary spousal support during the divorce. It looked suspicious that he did everything the law required to get it. On hearing day, the judge tossed out all facts and shouted at the spouse for 20 minutes. He stated he was filthy and symbolized everything wrong with society. That's when the judge stated he had to award spousal support. He stated his distaste for the husband. While leaving the courthouse, the husband kept calling my tearful client, "Fuck you, you jerk, it was the worst thing anyone could do." My customer said this: "I'm not a divorce lawyer, but as a banker I know many people's personal lives. It was obvious they were divorcing, but as a professional I don't care. I worry about his money. My guy earned family money. He probably managed a building, planning, paying and supervising workers. Great guy. It appears his wife wanted everything. He was furious because she seized his boat, which he bought before they met. Interestingly, she can't afford a truck or other boat moving equipment. He had to officially transport his boat with his truck to her lodging and leave it there. Dropped his boat. I was asked my age at the conclusion. I tell him 21. He advised me against marriage. Finally, I'll keep everything. I witnessed a man's future ex-wife battle over his disability payments while he was in service. She wasn't worried about being sued because her new lover would pay. She delayed the divorce and assets split for months since her soon-to-be ex-husband hadn't paid his disability. Total she should have received? Around $400. That was before the Supreme Court ruled that handicapped payments are not marital property. It was small conversation. The first wife and husband are divorcing and have a child. Child goes to wife. Husband 1 pays child support. Second marriage. The child is adopted by husband 2. Since husband number 2 is the father, husband number 1 no longer pays child support. Split up. Second wife and husband. That's why husband 2 pays child support. The wife marries him one again. The child lives with husband number 1 after moving in. Second husband, who adopted the child, still pays child support. My wife, a divorce lawyer, told me about this situation. They lived together during their divorce, but they had separate beds and everything. The husband bought chips and crackers for his soon-to-be ex-wife. She smashed the bag until the goodies were dust, but never opened it. But every snack he believed was new was old. He received no protective order or anything for this. He was furious about dust snacks. I worked on several divorce cases as a court worker. Many people bring naked photos of their soon-to-be ex-partners to court as proof. Not because the photographs are related to the divorce, but to degrade them. Court files are public until sealed by the judge. This allows anyone to view the court file and attachments. The saddest part of court is family court. Give no naked photos. The wife discovered her husband's infidelity. One day, she stuffed shrimp in every curtain rod at their former house. As he tried to sell the residence, the spouse couldn't pinpoint the stench. It smells awful, so he sells it for a huge loss. It was bought by the wife. That hubby was decent. He cared for the family and raised the kids well. He wanted to divorce fast and peacefully, but his cheating wife demanded everything, including his soul. She gained the house, child custody, and alimony, but they paid thousands in lawyer expenses over a vase and diary. The husband's grandmother owned both. They were her only possessions as she fled the Holocaust to the US. The judge ruled that the wife received them. Soon after getting them, she hammered the vase and burned the notepad. She placed vase pieces and journal ashes at the opening of his one-bedroom flat, which he had to relocate into due to money issues. In this case, I assisted the lawyer. A successful local business broker. Successful business with wealthy clients. Neighborhood tiny business owned by wife. Pet hobby. Not profitable. 2 years have passed since their last pregnancy. Working with reproductive doctors and centers. Finally, wife conceives, 1 in a million. Woman born male. Move ahead a few months. His wife spends the day in a huge city 2 hours away shopping for her store. The husband was prepared and gets the infant tested for paternity by someone other than his father. After being tested at the prenatal clinic, he realized he was blanking. He calls his lawyer, my boss, and we plot. While we investigate, someone is following his wife. He takes her to the doctor, tennis lessons, country club lunches, and friend hangouts. The country club is where her friends are throwing her birthday celebration. We have a chance. I deliver her divorce papers and ask her name aloud. When she says it, I explain my divorce. Cheating. Go to blank county court, blah blah. Her pals are startled. Her buddies are cheating on each other with persons from the same social group. We prove in court that the husband is not the father. We also want his name removed from the birth certificate. The judge orders her to list all the people she slept with during the conception window to avoid making the child a state ward. She made the list. Next time he appears to court, 10 diverse men appear. A sports teacher, doctor, 2 cooks, a trust fund prince, and others complete the group. She didn't say which John Doe was the father of the individual they wanted, so everyone got a DNA test. Our client can remove his name from the birth record and avoid child support and alimony. Child support and support for years are agreed upon by the wife and father. In the end, she wins. The doctor attended. The doctor will pay for her departure. There's an agreement. I agreed to NDA. The doctor was wealthy and worked hard to maintain his reputation. The judge allowed no dad on the birth record because the child would be supported. His wife worked while he closed on their house. His mother signed the papers with him. After years they split and the woman wants out. But her mum issues her eviction notice. The wife didn't know where they paid rent. Legal work was assigned to me after a divorce. The court required complete payment of $5,000 that had been unpaid for years. He contacted to have the court seize some money she was looking at. A firehouse supper gathered money for her cancer treatments since she didn't have health insurance. No, I said. My worst client adored his wife. He was told to pay 3,000 rupees per month temporarily. This man delivers his wife $3,000 in bank-issued 1 rupee coins in court. Formally, it's okay. He wants the bag back. The wife counted pennies in court while sitting. His bag, sort of. She has 3,000 coins but can't get them home. She was brilliant and cruel. I was a paralegal, but not a lawyer. The name of a case I read about escaped me when I tried to find it. Before marriage, the husband possessed 90% of their $15 million estate. The courts intended to give the husband the rest and the wife $2 million. A husband intended to leave his wife nothing. He wasted his money contesting every step by submitting useless paperwork and being a jerk.
Lawyers' expenses, fines, costs, and scheme losses left the parties with $500,000. The courts granted the wife everything, leaving him broke. Guy wins large at the lotto, $1 million. He doesn't tell wife, at least half belongs to her. He just has to write it down on the tax forms his wife always signs without reading since the tax has already been paid. Split up. Husband isn't annoying. Her lawyer advises her to accept the large divorce settlement. He moves to a nearby town and lives his normal life, but everybody forgets about him. When he moves again, no one can reach him. He spends it then. A bit of a story, but here it is. The family farm has been his home his whole life. His father is dead, but his mother lives with him. His mother suggests he marry as he ages. He meets online. It doesn't matter, she has a teenage daughter. Everything works out, and everyone lives on the farm. She does the books, he farms. When his wife discovers his wealth, she spends a lot. She buys expensive items, sends her daughter to private schools, but doesn't pay farm bills. The land was still mortgaged. He learns about it when the bank calls to say he's past due and unpaid. His farm is gone. A massive fight between him and his wife. She kicked him and his mother out of the house after they broke up, even though it was theirs. He enters the city. It bothers him. His whole life had been spent laboring in the country. He calls a friend to stay with him when he returns to town. He visits his friend. The friend's absent. Instead, he finds his ex-wife and daughter. He lost. He killed them with a revolver from his automobile. My lawyer hubby has stories. The mother of a 5-year-old daughter left her father and requested custody after discovering the abuse. The resentful man claimed his wife slapped the girl to avoid custody. After the girl visited his wife's parents, the husband remembered that they beat her too. All of this was repeated to deny the wife custody. The girl spent a year in foster care while investigations. Her parents and wife were acquitted. The father served time and can visit under monitoring. He sold guns and loved shooting most. That woman was his wife. She accused him of domestic abuse knowing he couldn't own or carry guns. Next, a divorcing woman asked her ex to get back together, slept with him, offered him alcohol, then kicked him out. Someone was driving on the road, so she called the cops. He was arrested, incarcerated, and fired for DUI. He drove for work. Finally, the father offered to relinquish custody of their twin kids provided she swore not to seek alimony or divide their possessions. So she consented, and the break ended. He sought full custody of the twins the day the papers were signed. He said he could better care for them because he had a larger house and she had a flat, and he was wealthier. His lawyer advised him to leave her little. After the judge refused to give him power due to the past, he broke up the twins permanently by attacking one of them. Many stories, but they make me sickest. Wife has child. The husband doesn't like how the youngster distracts him. Tells wife she controls the child financially and otherwise. Wife understands hubby is a horrible parent and partner. She would rather raise her child alone than deal with his man-baby crap. Divorce papers are submitted. His lawyer advises the spouse to spend more time with his child to pay less child support. His wife starts taking him to the doctor and parenting the child. The couple split. A great dad, the husband splits time with the kids. To get her husband to care about the child, wife had to divorce. I had this case as a law clerk. His job was crucial, therefore he was sent abroad. A wife and 2 children relocated with him. He made a lot of money for free. However, his wife was a stay-at-home mom or unemployed. After the divorce, they returned to Sweden. Legally, the wife sued for alimony to ensure she could care for the kids every other week. She struggled to find a job after being unemployed. No savings, etc. Even the spouse, who hadn't paid bills in years, suddenly declared he was destitute. He had $1 million and had to buy an apartment in one of the most expensive neighborhoods to reside. Click the bell to enable alerts after joining.